This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple plans a product launch, words of doom and gloom for iPhone and Vision Pro, and the OS beta parade rolls on. It is Wednesday, the 24th of April, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Pen Chalet, selling exquisite fountain pens for over 10 years with special offers for Mac OS Ken listeners at penchalet.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Exciting news for Apple fans. The company has a product event coming up in just a couple of weeks. iDownloadBlog says the event, dubbed Let Loose, is expected to focus on iPad. On Twitter on Tuesday, Apple CEO Tim Cook posted a mildly cryptic message saying "Pencil us in for May 7. That was accompanied by an animation featuring several stylized Apple logos cycled through as if being worked on right then by a working artist. The post also included a pencil emoji and the hashtag Apple Event. The stylized logo that starts and ends the cycle has an illustration of a hand holding an Apple Pencil, so pretty iPad-centric. Additionally, there are the rumors. iDownloadBlog says new iPads and an Apple Pencil are expected, starting with the first iPad Pros equipped with OLED panels, MagSafe wireless charging, and a thinner appearance. The iPad Air should see a refresh too, and bring a new size with a 12.9-inch screen that should feature mini LED backlighting like the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Other expectations include a landscape camera for the Air and Pro tablets, and the possibility of a matte display option, so hard to think that there won't be new iPads on offer. But that may not be all. Over the weekend on Twitter, the allegedly reliable leaker Kosutami said FineWoven, Apple's much-maligned replacement for leather in its accessories, was done. Gone, according to the leaker, owing to its lack of durability. All the production line was stopped and removed, said the post, but now they say there's one more thing. One last hurrah for the leather replacement, about which many have harumphed. A piece from Cult of Mac had Kosutami hitting Twitter again yesterday, saying, "Update, Apple would still produce, sale, the FineWoven for season, new colors." New colors for spring are a thing that Apple does, but wasn't it just 72 hours ago that the same guy or gal said FineWoven was donezo? We'll see what's in store, and whether FineWoven gets another turn in a couple of weeks. iDownloadBlog says the event will go live on Tuesday, the 7th of May, at the truly antisocial time of 7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. back east. You can catch that on Apple's events page, apple.com/events, in the Apple TV app, and, one assumes, on the company's official YouTube channel. It'll also be made available as a podcast soon after, in audio or video form. We now return you to doom and gloom, always in progress. The good news for the smartphone market in China: sales are recovering. That is according to the latest first quarter numbers from market tracker Counterpoint Research. According to the firm, smartphone sales in China were up 1.5% last quarter versus the same quarter a year earlier. They were also up 4.5% from quarter before, with Lunar New Year sales and gifting driving that quarter-on-quarter rise. Time to pop the bubbly, right? Well, maybe not for Apple fans. The firm says Apple sales dropped 19.1% year-on-year in the first quarter, as Huawei's comeback directly impacted the premium segment. Again, it does feel like a tough compare could also be hurting the company, though the Huawei effect can apparently not be ignored. Not that Huawei was tops. In fact, it didn't even beat Apple. I mean, it did in terms of growth. Sales for the Chinese brand were up close to 70% versus the same quarter a year ago. That left Huawei in fourth place with a 15.5% share of the Chinese smartphone market, just behind Apple's third place, 15.7% share. They were behind second place Honor's 16.1%, and first place Vivo with a 17.4% share. Looking forward, Counterpoint has senior research analyst Ivan Lam eyeing the possibility of an iPhone recovery. Quoting Lam, "We are seeing slow but steady improvement from week to week, so momentum could be shifting. For the second quarter, the possibility of new color options combined with aggressive sales initiatives could bring the brand back into positive territory. And of course, we are waiting to see what its AI features will offer come WWDC in June. That has the potential to move the needle significantly longer term." Hey, wait a sec. Weren't we doing doom and gloom? Oh, here's some. TF International analyst Ming-Chi hit Medium on Tuesday, pouring water on the candle that is Apple Vision Pro adoption. He says, they're not getting adopted at the rate at which Apple would have hoped. According to his post, Apple has cut its 2024 Vision Pro shipments to 400 to 450,000 units versus market consensus of 700 to 800,000 units or more. Apple cut orders before launching Vision Pro in non-US markets, which means that demand in the US market has fallen sharply beyond expectations, making Apple take a conservative view of demand in non-US markets. So says Ming-Chi Kuo. And now, cue Tim Cook from 11 years ago who said, "I'd stress that even if a particular data point were factual, it would be impossible to interpret for our overall business. Yields can vary, supplier performance can vary. There's an inordinately long list of things that would make any single data point not a great proxy for what's going on." That said, just as the world knew that Apple would one day release a car and that Apple would one day release a full-on Apple television, the failure of Apple Vision Pro is starting to be treated as common knowledge by some. According to the analyst, Apple is reviewing and adjusting its head-mounted display product roadmap, so there may be no new Vision Pro model in 2025. The previous expectation was that there would be a new model in the second half or fourth quarter of 25. Apple now expects Vision Pro shipments to decline year on year in 2025. So says Ming-Chi Kuo, IDK. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Pen Chalet, selling exquisite pens for over 10 years. I can talk and talk and talk about fountain pens, great paper, the right ink. Really though, the thing to do is get a good pen in your hand. That's why I worked with Pen Chalet on the starter boxes for macOS Ken listeners. The carefully assembled kits at penchalet.com/macOSken are perfect for newcomers to the whole fountain pen thing, offering premium tools to ensure a delightful and smooth writing experience, and at really reasonable prices. Personally, I love the Pilot Metropolitan. It is my daily driver for journaling, letter writing, jotting down the random note. They've got several styles from which to choose, from classic black to some fun retro pop colors and patterns. If the modern styling and bright colors of the Lamy Safari are more your jam, cool. Either box will serve you well as you dive in. Great paper, great ink, and the right pen for you. Choose your kit at penchalet.com/macOSken. Now, if you're already a pen and ink person, they've got a deal for you as well. Code MOK10 at penchalet.com/macOSKen will get you 10% off on purchases besides the starter kits. Inks, nibs, accessories, higher-end pens. I love the selection at Pen Chalet. Check it out and save 10% with code MOK10 at penchalet.com/macOSKen. If you think fountain pens are not for you, I'm willing to bet you just haven't found the right one for you. Find it at penchalet.com/macOSKen. And a huge thanks to Pen Chalet for sponsoring today's show. While Apple may be moving iPhone production to other countries in addition to China, more pieces and parts are coming from the Middle Kingdom. So says a piece from the South China Morning Post. According to the report, a total of 157 Apple contractors conducted manufacturing in mainland China last year, up from 151 the previous year. The list represents 98% of Apple's direct spending on materials, manufacturing, and assembly of its products worldwide. South China Morning Post says last year was the first year since 2021 that Apple added more suppliers in China than it cut from the country. This would seem to bolster words spoken last month by Apple CEO Tim Cook. On a March charm offensive through the country, Cook was quoted by state media China Daily as saying, "There is no supply chain in the world that is more critical to us than China." Members of Apple's developer program got a slew of new betas on Tuesday. Pieces from Mac Rumors heralded the availability of third betas of iOS and iPadOS 17.5, macOS Sonoma 14.5, watchOS 10.5, tvOS 17.5, and visionOS 1.2. Look for at least some of those to turn up for Apple's public testing program any minute now. And finally today, wondering what the future has in store? In the immediate future, it is Season 2 of the Big Door Prize. Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and hailed as thought-provoking, hilarious, and one of the best comedy debuts in years, according to Apple. The company says Season 2 follows the residents of Deerfield as the Morpho Machine readies them for the mysterious next stage. As everyone's potentials are exchanged for visions, new relationships form, and new questions are asked. If you gave it a miss before, the entirety of Season 1 is available to stream on Apple TV+. The first 2 episodes of the Big Door Prize Season 2 hit the Cupertino streamer today. They will run one per Wednesday between now and the 19th of June. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Pen Chalet, selling exquisite fountain pens for over 10 years with special offers for macOS Ken listeners at penchalet.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.